Kaimusta everyone, and welcome to a challenge that tests the very limits of our patience and planning. The goal today is simple. We must conquer the Spire using only poison as our source of damage. No direct attacks, no fancy finishers, just the slow, creeping certainty of death by poison. To help us achieve this toxic strategy, we're giving ourselves a little jump start with a simple console command, adding a single copy of the cornerstone card for this deck, Noxus Fumes. Let's begin. Right out of the gate we're greeted by Neo, but take a look at the map first. The third path looks decent with plenty of question marks for events and a few merchants to buy our key cards. Neo then presents us a few options for our starting blessing, but the choice is clear. To maximize our poison output right from the very start, we're choosing to upgrade our copy of Noxus Fumes, increasing its poison application from 2 to 3 per turn. Every single point of poison is going to matter. Our first encounter is with a lone cultist. We immediately play our upgraded Noxus Fumes, getting our poison in play, but the first major challenge of this run immediately becomes clear. Scaling enemies like the cultist gain strength every turn, while our damage is slow and steady. Showcasing fights like these are a race against time. We spend the next few turns just playing defense cards, blocking his attacks while our poison slowly ticks him down. It's a bit of a nail biter, but after several turns, the poison finally overwhelms his health, securing us our first victory. For our reward, we choose Deadly Poison, to give us another way to stack those toxic debuffs. Next up, a pair of slimes. This is where Noxus Fumes can start to shine. Because it can hit all enemies, we can efficiently poison both slimes at once. After applying our poison, we focus on defending. They both succumb to damage a couple of turns later. We are then offered a few cards and pick Dodge and Roll, since it's a perfect fit for our poison defensive deck. Our first question mark of the map reveals a Jawworm. This is another enemy that hits for a decent amount and scales its damage. We get our poisons into play quickly, then use our defensive cards and our newly acquired Dodge and Roll to block any incoming attacks. We take a few hits but manage to outlast them, and the rewards aren't great so we skip. We've reached our first shop with a good amount of gold. There are a few interesting choices, but the best by far is to remove a card. We get rid of a basic strike card since we can't attack for damage, and move on to the next room, which reveals itself to be a Scrap Ooze event. This gives us the chance to risk some health for a relic. It's a gamble, but relics are incredibly powerful, so we decide to reach inside. We take a few points of damage but pull out the Horn Cleat, which gives us 14 block at the start of our second turn in combat, a fantastic relic for our defensive strategy. We then enter the next room. Being a rest site, we take a chance to heal up as much as we can before entering our next fight. The next room leads us to 3 Lausas, a pretty straightforward fight. Noxus Fumes Poison make quick work of the 3 low health enemies, block the incoming damage, and a few turns later, they're all gone. For our fourth card reward, we go with Deflect, a free defensive skill that lets us block 4 damage without using energy. The following room reveals 2 Fungi Bees. We then again use Noxus Fumes to hit them both. However, these enemies apply vulnerable when they die, so we block as much as we can to reduce the damage we take. The fight is slow, but we manage our health and defense well, and eventually, the poison does its job. We pick up another Noxus Fumes for our 5th card reward, a medium relic chest. Inside, we find the tiny chest, a relic that makes every 4th room a relic chest room. On to the next. Another slime fight, but this time with a big one that splits into 2. We repeat the poison defense cycle till the big slime splits, and once it does, the fight is practically over. For our card reward, we're forced to skip since we can't use any of them. The next room greets us with 5 more slimes, but just like before, we apply Noxus Fumes and the fight just becomes a waiting game. Eventually, the slimes crumble one by one. Another easy win for us. But for our reward, we get Malaise, a run-carrying card that uses all of our energy to reduce the strength of a foe matching to the amount of energy we used. This card will be invaluable to us later. Back at the shop, we use the chance to further thin our deck, getting rid of another strike card. With only 2 question mark rooms remaining, the first one reveals itself to be a Big Fish event, which offers us 3 choices. 23 healing, plus 5 max HP, or a random relic plus a curse. We aren't good HP wise, and with an upcoming question mark that could be a battle, the plus 5 max HP would help us far too late. As for the other option, I would rather not gamble for a relic that could potentially break the rules of our run. So we choose the 23 healing, getting us near full HP and ready for the fights ahead. The second question mark room reveals itself to be another merchant, and we see 3 cards we could have used. I'm starting to regret spending all of our gold, but since we're unable to buy anything, we move on. We arrive at the final rest site before the boss. Our HP is still not full, so instead of upgrading a card, we choose to rest. Afterwards, we arrive to the boss of Act 1, the Hexaghost. Our starting hand lets us play our upgraded Noxus Fumes immediately, starting the long process of poisoning this ghostly figure to death. We see it preparing its Inferno attack for a whopping 30 damage. On our next turn though, we luckily draw Melees, which becomes the turning point of the fight. We play it for its full cost, permanently reducing its strength by 3 and applying 3 weak for this turn, which drops that massive 30 damage down to a much more manageable 12, which is then blocked by our Horn Cleat. With its weakened state, managing our defense becomes easy, letting us soak up every hit it throws at us. The following turns become a cycle of blocking, playing our second Noxus Fumes, and our deadly poisons whenever they are drawn. Can't forget about mitigating the burn cards it adds to our deck with its Seer ability. It's a long patient battle, but eventually, the stacks of poison are just too much, and the Hexaghost goes down. For our rewards, we get 95 gold and a choice of cards. From the 3, we take Adrenaline, a fantastic card that gives us what is essentially a free point of energy and 2 draws when we use it. For the relic, our choices are Ectoplasm, Coffee Dripper, or Slaver's Collar. This is a no-brainer pick. While they all give us an extra energy, Ectoplasm prevents us from ever earning gold, and the Coffee Dripper stops us from using rest sites, so we go with Slaver's Collar, which gives us an extra energy just for elite and boss fights. Act 2. The City. Coming from the high of beating the Hexaghost with relative ease, I take a look at the map briefly and take a path with the most question marks, but despair at our first fight in Act 2 against 2 thieves. Because these enemies can steal gold and escape after just a few turns, they can be a problem for our deck that wants to stall as long as possible. Our starting hand gives us Noxus Fumes, which we immediately play, but with the limited defensive options we have, we end up taking 12 damage right off the bat. Unfortunately, we only manage to kill one before the other one runs away, causing us to lose 35 gold. A rough start to Act 2. For our card reward, we get Piercing Wail. For our first question mark, we encounter the Forgotten Altar. We don't have the Golden Idol to choose the special choice, but we can sacrifice some health for a max HP boost. With 57 health and after taking a look at the map, we see some rest sites, so we decide it's a worth trade. We gain 5 max HP at the cost of 18 current HP, a solid long-term investment. It's another chest, and we find a Mercury Hourglass. A relic at the start of every turn deals damage to our enemies. An otherwise useful relic in every run, besides ours, since it would break the rules we established, so we skip, keeping our disappointment going from earlier. The next room leads to a merchant. We buy Bouncing Flask, a card that distributes 3 poison to 3 random enemies, giving us another way to apply poison, a perfect pickup to speed up our poison application. We then meet the Augmenter, who offers to make us stronger in exchange for helping with his experiments. We choose to become a test subject, which transforms 2 cards of our choosing to a random card. We get rid of 2 strike cards, and it gives us Tools of the Trade and Fletchets. While Fletchets is another useless attack card, Tools of the Trade is decent, giving us a card draw and a discard at the start of every turn, helping us cycle our deck faster. At the campfire, we rest to recover the health we lost in the earlier events, getting us back into fighting shape. The second question mark leads us to the Council of Ghosts. They offer us power in the form of apparition cards, but at the cost of max HP. Given our focus on slow defensive play, we can't afford to lose a huge chunk of our health. We wisely refuse their offer and continue on. Another campfire. Our health hasn't changed since we last rested, so we look at our options but ultimately decide to upgrade Melees. The upgraded version now adds an extra point of weakened strength loss to the final amount of energy spent, making it an even more potent tool for shutting down enemy attacks. We find another treasure chest, albeit a small one. It contains 24 gold and a strawberry, a relic that boosts our max HP by 7. A nice boost taking into account our previous HP boost. Our next fight is the Spirit Guardian. This elite enemy has an artifact charge, which negates our first 3 debuffs. We play our Deadly Poison, which it negates, then Adrenaline Surge, hoping for Noxus Fumes, but unfortunately don't hit. Our next hand, we play both our Noxus Fumes and our recently upgraded Melees, but I forget it negates that as well. Eventually, the Guardian runs out of charges, letting us slowly chip away at its health, ignoring its barricade ability till we eventually kill it. We're rewarded with Blessing of the Forge, a potion which lets us upgrade all of our cards in our hand for the rest of a single combat, and are forced to skip the card reward. Here, we encounter a Cultist and a Chosen. This is dangerous, because the Chosen adds daze cards to our deck. It clogs our hand, while the Cultist scales its damage, making them a deadly duo for our deck. We start off using both of our Noxus Fumes, and focus down the Cultist first with Deadly Poison. With one enemy down, the Chosen is much easier to manage. Our plan works, and we take them down. For our reward, we pick up Crippling Cloud, a card that lets us poison all enemies and apply weak to them, a nice mix of poison and debuffing. The next room reveals a bird and a Chosen. We focus the bird, because it's another enemy that can scale its strength. They both prepare to attack and we try our best to defend, but due to a not great hand, I'm still forced to take 6 damage. After the bird goes down, you would think it would be smooth sailing from here. but due to the dazed cards the Chosen gives me, we take another 11 damage, and after a few more turns, the Chosen follows the bird to Flockhala. Anyways, we pick up another Noxus Fumes for our card reward. The next room is a campfire. With being half health and the boss fast approaching, we heal up to get us into fighting shape. This treasure chest room contains the ancient tea set, a relic that provides 2 energy for the first combat you encounter after entering a rest site. A great relic since we always have to enter a rest site before a boss, which we immediately get to use at the final rest site, healing to full HP for the upcoming battle. The Champ, a boss who hits like a truck and is a huge damage check for us. With our first hand, we use the bonus energy from the ancient tea set to set up our defenses. A dodge and roll in the bouncing flash to begin the poison stacking, while Piercing Wail immediately cuts down his initial strength. We throw up some basic defense to weather his first opening attack. A solid start. Turn 2, and it's time for a power move. We drink the Blessing of the Forge potion, upgrading the cards in this hand for the rest of the combat. This buffs our Deadly Poison, our Adrenaline, and 2 defense cards. A huge investment that will pay off later. With that done, we get our Noxus Fumes into play, plus Deadly Poison to really start the pain train. Thanks to our Horny Cleat providing a passive block, we can even save the newly upgraded Adrenaline for a future turn. The Champ is preparing a massive 24 damage hit. This could be devastating, but we draw Malaise. We pour all our energy into it, crippling his strength, followed up by Deflect. We're still taking a bit of damage, but this one card has completely neutered his offensive pressure for several turns. That's a trade we'll take every time. After a few turns of blocking and poisoning, the Champ reaches low enough health to hit the second phase. He enrages, cleansing all of our hard-earned poison stacks. Suddenly, we're back at square one on damage. But now he's angrier and stronger than before. Preparing to hit us with a whopping 48 damage, we play our Adrenaline and all the defensive cards we get, plus a Bouncing Flash, and take 23 damage. Our passive Noxus Fumes is our only source of damage now, until we can redraw our other poison cards. We get lucky in our following turns, drawing the defensive cards we need to survive his onslaught, but eventually, Noxus Fumes stacks up again and the Champ becomes the chump. For our rare card reward, we instantly pick up Malaise, adding another one of these run-carrying cards to our deck. But for our relic, the decision becomes a lot harder. We're presented with the Curse Key, the Astrolabe, or the Runic Dome. The Astrolabe is an instant pass, since it randomly takes 3 cards from our deck and randomizing them. So that leaves the Curse Key and the Runic Dome. They both provide an extra energy, but the Runic Dome has a massive downside. It doesn't let us see what the enemy plans on doing for their action. And with a defensive deck such as ours, that's our run-ender. So we go with the Curse Key, which gives us an extra energy with the downside of getting a curse when we open a non-boss chest. An annoying downside, but otherwise manageable. Moving on to Act 3, our first combat reveals itself to be an Exploder and 2 Spikers. The Exploder takes priority as it deals massive damage if it gets its ability off. We poison everyone solely with Noxus Fumes, but unfortunately are too slow to kill the Exploder, taking 21 damage as a result. The poison takes care of the last 2 Spikers easily, and for our card reward, we're forced to skip. Limping away after our first encounter, we stumble into a shop. Our health dangerously low, and there it is, a beacon of hope on the shelf, Lee's Waffle. This isn't just any relic, it's a full heal and a permanent boost to our max HP. Seeing as we're at the very start of the act and already half, this isn't just a purchase, it's a lifeline. We spend our gold without a second thought, giving us the massive survivability boost this run desperately needs to get back on track. The first question mark of the act reveals a treasure chest. Cracking it open, we find the Onamori, a wonderful relic that will negate the next 2 curses we obtain. And speak of the devil, as we take the relic, our curse key triggers, burdening our deck with a curse that applies 1 week to us whenever we discard it. But since we're going poison only, it doesn't affect us at all. Our next fight in Act 3 is against 3 Darklings. This is a very dangerous encounter. They regenerate health if we don't kill them within the same turn, and hit extremely hard, often attacking on the same turn as well. We play Piercing Wail and 2 Noxus Fumes, and a 1 energy Malaise since we have no block cards this turn. The fight becomes a desperate balancing act of trying to balance our poison distribution while still having the energy to block their ferocious attacks. After a few tense turns, the poison finally kills all 3 of them, and we secure another victory. We're forced to skip our card reward once more. Next up, we face the Spire Growth. This fight is a pure damage race, not against its attacks, but against its constrictability, which deal an unavoidable 10 damage to us every single turn. Our deck delivers perfectly though. We immediately funnel all of our energy into 2 massive Malaise, crippling its strength and making its deadly attacks more manageable. But the real danger, the Constrict, keeps ticking, even with its strength debuff by 6. Combining its Constrict, some bad hands, and its decently strong attacks, we still take 24 damage before the fight is over. We're forced to skip the card reward once again, but we do pick up a Blessing of the Forge potion, a fantastic tool to save for a future fight. After using a campfire to heal to near full HP, it's time for our first elite of Act 3, the Nemesis. This is a dangerous encounter, as it hits hard on alternate turns and clogs our deck with burn cards that deal 2 damage per card when we discard them. But our deck has the perfect answer. Thanks to the Slaver's Collar providing extra energy, we unleash a massive 7 energy melees, followed up by another 5 energy melees on the next deck cycle. This incredible 1-2 punch combo completely neuters one of its main attack, reducing the damage to a literal 0. With its primary threat gone, the fight becomes a simple matter of defending while our poison does the work. For our trouble, the reward is absolutely game-changing. We get the Blood Vial, a relic that heals us 2 HP at the start of every combat for some passive healing, but more importantly, we are rewarded with an upgraded Catalyst. This is the card we've been looking for all run, a skill that now triples an enemy's poison, turning our slow steady damage into a terrifying finisher. The next encounter leads us to the Maw, an enemy known for a powerful self-buff that lets it rapidly stack its strength and enemy debuffs that lower our strength and dexterity. We counter this proactively by hitting it with both of our melees cards, stalling its strength gain before it can ever become a threat. With its primary gimmick neutralized for now, the rest of the encounter becomes a formality. We stack our poisons, defend against its attacks, and once the poison is high enough, we use Catalyst on the Maw to bring it down. For our reward, we're forced to skip again. Our path leads to a treasure chest. The curse key immediately tries to give us its mandatory curse, but our trusty Onamari steps in to negate it. Inside, we find the Oddly Smooth Stone, a fantastic relic that gives us 1 free dexterity at the start of every fight. Every single block card in our deck just got a little bit stronger. A simple but powerful upgrade for our defensive game plan. We then arrive at the Merchant, and the Footwork card on sale is an instant buy. This card provides a fantastic buff, adding 2 dexterity then exhausting itself when used, making our defense even stronger. We also purchase a card removal service, seizing the opportunity to finally cleanse our deck of the last useless strike card. Reaching a timely campfire with an elite encounter looming, the choice is simple. We rest and recover. This also activates our Ancient Tea set, granting us a crucial extra 2 energy for the first turn of the upcoming battle. It's time for our second elite, the Giant Head. This fight is a terrifying DPS race against a very familiar looking egg. For its first 2 turns, it will use weaker moves, each one accompanied by a countdown. When the countdown hits 0, it will unleash its devastating signature move. It is time. An attack that starts at 30 damage and gets stronger every single time it's used. We absolutely have to kill it before it can scale. On turn 1, it opens with Glare, attempting to weaken us, but it doesn't affect us at all since we don't use attacks. We immediately get to work, playing Noxus Fumes and Crippling Cloud to start stacking our poison. It opens with Count, attempting to deal minor damage to us, but this turn becomes a huge momentum swing. With an energy boost from Adrenaline, we unleash a 3 energy upgraded melees. This is a crucial preemptive strike, because even though the base damage of it this time will increase, by crippling the Giant Head strength stat now, will massively reduce the final damage of that future attack. The countdown hits 3, then 2. We spend these turns in full defensive mode, using our blocks to mitigate the incoming damage as our poison climbs higher and higher. The countdown has finished and the head is preparing its first It Is Time attack. This is the moment. Our deck cycles perfectly, delivering the card we've been waiting for. With over 75 poison already simmering on the target, we slam down our upgraded Catalyst. The effect is instantaneous, tripling the poison to a staggering 225. A turn later, and the Giant Head goes down. For our troubles, we receive the Eternal Feather, a relic which heals us 3 HP for every 5 cards in our deck when we reach a rest site, and we're forced to skip the card reward. We then reach the Mind Bloom event, which gives us 3 choices. Fight an Act 1 boss for a rare relic, upgrade all our cards but lose the ability to heal at campfires, or heal to full at the cost of a curse. For this situation, fighting the Act 1 boss will give us the best value, since upgrading all our cards would be nice, but giving up our final campfire is too big of a risk, and right now, we're nearly full health, so the heal is a no-go as well. For the Act 1 boss, our opponent is the Guardian. This fight is a complete victory lap, showcasing just how powerful our poison engine has become. We see it charging its big attack, and a simple malice is enough to completely neutralize the threat. It shifts into its defensive mode, but the spiky shell means nothing to the poison already coursing through its circuits. We simply wait for the inevitable, and when the moment Catalyst appears in our hand, the fight is over. Our reward for the victory is the old coin, granting us a hefty sum of 300 gold, which is unfortunately useless this late in the game. The actual reward, a second copy of Footwork, further cementing our late game defense. Our final fight before the boss is against the Writhing Mass, but its entire arsenal of tricks is useless against us. We immediately play a powerful Malice, which crushes its strength stat and turns its once threatening attacks into trivial single-digit hits. It tries to use its Wither attack to apply debuffs, but they are completely wasted. Our Dexterity boosted block is more than enough to negate the bonus damage from Vulnerable, and the weak debuff is meaningless against us, since it has zero effect on our poison damage. With its moveset completely neutered, we patiently stack our toxins before finishing off with a decisive catalyst. We then arrive at our final campfire and rest, activating our ancient tea set and healing to full before going on towards the boss of Act 3. And here we are, the final boss, the dreaded Time Eater. This is easily the worst possible matchup for us. Its core mechanic, Time Warp, is designed to punish decks like ours, making it so every 12 cards we play, our turn is forcibly ended and it gains a permanent point of strength. On top of that, its haste ability means that if we ever drop it below 50% HP, it'll use its next turn to heal right back up to full and cleanse itself of all our hard-earned poison. Our opening strategy is pure strength suppression. On our very first turn, we see it preparing a powerful head slam, so we unload a massive 7 energy melees. This cripples its damage for the turns to come. After setting up our poisons while carefully staying under the card limit, we hit it with another 5 energy melees. With its strength stat now deep in the negatives, the Time Eater's multi-hit Reverberate attack literally does 0 damage. We have completely neutralized one of its only 2 attack moves. We then spend the next few turns patiently blocking and stacking our poison, but a small miscalculation springs the trap. Time Warp activates, prematurely ending our turn and giving the boss a permanent strength boost. Despite the setback, we see our opening. We drink our Blessing of the Forge potion, play Bouncing Flask, and then unleash our Soul Catalyst, launching the poison count into the hundreds. We struck at the perfect moment too. The poison is now ticking for nearly a third of its health every turn. All we have to do now is survive. After 2 more desperate turns of blocking, the Time Eater prepares to use haste, but we go on the offensive, throwing every last poison card we have just to push the stacks even higher. And with that, the challenge is complete. The boss falls to one last glorious poison tick. And there you have it. Thank you all so much for watching. This one was a serious struggle to record. It took me so many attempts to get it right, so I'm really proud to be showing off the final victory here. This is actually my first ever attempt at making a proper edited YouTube video, so I know there's a lot to improve, and that's where I could use your help. Please leave a comment with any feedback you have, or even other challenges in other games you'd like to see me try in the future. I really appreciate you being here for my first video, and I hope to see you all again soon.